Okay, we are going to skip Leviticus 24 for now. We'll come back to it at a future point in time. And we're going to go on down to Leviticus 25 and cover one more major festival celebration. Or a couple of them, but okay, a concept, really. The Lord said to Moses on Mount Sinai, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, when you enter the land I'm going to give you, the land itself must observe a Sabbath to the Lord." So we're elaborating on the Sabbath concept. "For 6 years sow your fields, and for 6 years prune your vineyards and gather their crops. But in the seventh year, the land is to have a Sabbath of rest, a Sabbath to the Lord. Do not sow your fields or prune your vineyards. Do not reap what grows of itself, or harvest the grapes of your untended vines. The land is to have a year of rest. Whatever the land yields during the Sabbath year will be food for you, for yourself, your manservant and maidservant, and the hired worker and temporary resident who lives among you, as well as for your livestock and the wild animals in your land. Whatever the land produces may be eaten. Count off 7 Sabbaths of years. It's not just every 7th year, but every seventh year. Just like we counted off 7 weeks after the Feast of First Fruits, now we are counting off 7 Sabbaths, 7 Sabbath years. So every 7th batch of 7 years, so 49 years. 7 times 7 years. So the 7 Sabbaths of years amount to a period of 49 years. Then have the trumpet, remember that, the herald announcement, sounded everywhere on the 10th day of the 7th month. You know what that is? It's the Day of Atonement. On the Day of Atonement. Sound the trumpet throughout your land. Consecrate the 50th year. So this would be the beginning of the 50th year that's in the civil calendar, because this month was the herald of the new year in their civil calendar. Consecrate it was the 7th month of their religious calendar. Confusing, isn't it? Consecrate the 50th year and proclaim liberty throughout the land to all its inhabitants. It shall be a jubilee for you. Each one of you is to return to his family property, and each to his own clan. The 50th year shall be a jubilee for you. Do not sow and do not reap what grows of itself, or harvest the untended vines." What are you doing, cat? Oh my goodness. Here. Here's the cat. I have you. No, oh my goodness, you're sliding down. You're going into oblivion, cat. Stop that. Stop that right now. Stop. Stop. Yeah, stop that. Stop that right now. Be quiet. Be quiet. You said enough. You said plenty. Do you have anything more to say, cat? If you have anything more to say besides meow, go ahead. She's actually quite an expressive cat. She does everything. She communicates in all kinds of ways. Timber is actually something of a genius. As far as cats go, Timber is a borderline genius, I'd say. She is very, 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 very expressive. She has a wide range, oh my goodness, a wide range of meows. Short, long, high, low. All over the place with her meows. She communicates with her eyes and her body language. Yeah. There are times it feels like I'm having a conversation with her. She is so clear in communicating what she's thinking that there are times that it feels like I'm having a conversation with her. You know, it's weird. You ever seen Tarzan talking with the apes? It's like there are times that it feels like I'm talking with Timber. She is just that clear and expressive in her way of communicating. The 50th year shall be a jubilee to you. Do not sow and do not reap what grows of itself, or harvest the untended vines. For it is a jubilee, and it is to be holy for you. Eat only what is taken directly from the fields. In the year of Jubilee, everyone is to return to his own property. They don't even have that property yet. They're not going to get it until Joshua gets in the land and divvies it up for them after they conquer it. That's 45 years in their future at this point. Yeah, be quiet. Yeah. Whenever they get there, they're going to divide up the land, and they're going to have their inheritances. And so every year at the Jubilee, every 50 years of the Jubilee, they're supposed to return to their original allotted inheritances. If you sell land to one of your countrymen or buy any from him, do not take advantage of each other. You are to buy from your countryman on the basis of the number of years since the Jubilee, and he is to sell to you on the basis of the number of years left for harvesting crops. When the years are many, you are to increase the price. It doesn't say by how much. It's a teaching. It's a principle. The actual number is to be calculated later. When the years are few, you are to decrease the price, because what he is really selling you is the number of crops. He's not selling you the land, because in the year of the Jubilee, the land is going to reset back to you, or you're not selling him the land, because in the year of Jubilee, everything gets reset back to the original ownership. So what you're really selling is a number of years to work that land until the next Jubilee, and what you're really buying is a number of years to work that land until the next Jubilee. At that point, it goes back to the guy you bought it from, or you get it back from the guy you sold it to. Do not take advantage of each other, but fear your God. I am the Lord your God. Follow my decrees. I don't know if they ever actually did this. Okay, I don't think we have a single indication. I'm assuming they did, at least some. But as unfaithful as they were in so many other ways, it's hard to imagine that they would have been willing to do this if you have a community where people get rich, and then every 50 years they have to give that up and give it back to whoever they got it from originally or whatever. It's hard to see an unfaithful community following that. Okay, and I don't think we have any record anywhere in the Old Testament of them ever actually doing this. So I don't know if they ever actually did it or not. I certainly doubt that they did it consistently. If they ever did it at all, I don't think it was something they did consistently. Yeah, they had so many other problems in so many other areas, and they did take advantage of the poor, and they did game the system. I don't see any way they would have willingly given up all their holdings in the year of Jubilee according to what they were supposed to do. It'd be like the billionaires in our society today giving up their money at a certain point in time and just saying, hey, here, take it back. It'd be like Jeff Bezos giving back the money he got from Amazon to everybody who ever bought anything from Amazon. It's like, that's not going to happen, okay? Like, that's just not going to happen. So I doubt they ever did it. If they ever did, I don't think it was ever a regular habit for them. Follow my decrees and be careful to obey my laws, and you will live safely in the land. Then the land will yield its fruit, and you will eat your fill and live there in safety. You may ask, what will we eat in the 7th year if we do not plant or harvest our crops? I will send you such a blessing in the 6th year. The land will yield enough for 3 years. While you plant during the 8th year, you will eat from the old crop and will continue to eat from it until the harvest of your 9th year comes in. So God has a solution to that. That's an obvious question to ask. Like, how are we going to eat during that 7th year if we can't actually plant anything? So he says, if you trust me, I'll bless you enough in the 6th year that you won't need to. The land must not be sold permanently, because the land is mine, and you are but aliens and my tenants. The land really belongs to God. In the end, everything the Israelites have, and everything that you and I have today, really belongs to God. So this concept of Jubilee is to remind them that this land isn't really theirs. They may think it's theirs, they may act like it's theirs, but it really isn't theirs. So every 50 years they were to be reminded that this land actually belongs to God. And what they're really doing is taking care of it for him. Throughout the country that you hold as a possession, you must provide for the redemption of the land, the buying back of the land. Redemption means to buy back. If one of your countrymen becomes poor and sells some of his property, his nearest relative is to come and redeem what his countryman has sold. If, however, a man has no one to, that's the family redeemer. If, however, a man has no one to redeem it for him, but he himself prospers and acquires sufficient means to redeem it, he is to determine the value for the years since he sold it, and refund the balance to the man to whom he sold it. he can then go back to his own property. If he does not acquire the means to repay him, what he sold will remain in the possession of the buyer until the year of Jubilee. It will be returned in the Jubilee, and he can then go back to his property. If a man sells a house in a walled city, he retains the right of redemption a full year after its sale. During that time he may redeem it. If it is not redeemed before a full year has passed or bought back, the house in the walled city shall belong permanently to the buyer and his descendants. So then that is a permanent transfer of property. But it is not to be returned in the Jubilee. But houses in villages without walls around them, so in the countryside, basically, the rural area, are to be considered as open country. They can be redeemed, and they are to be returned in the Jubilee. The Levites always have the right to redeem their houses in the Levitical towns. Remember, the Levites didn't have a land inheritance. They were not given a plot of land that belonged to their tribe exclusively. They were given these separate cities scattered throughout the entire country that were where they lived. The Levites always have the right to redeem their houses in the Levitical towns which they possess. There are 48 of them all throughout the country. So the property of the Levites is redeemable. That is, a house sold in any town they hold, and is to be returned in the Jubilee. Because the houses in the towns of the Levites are their property among the Israelites. But the pasture land belonging to their towns must not be sold. It is their permanent possession. If one of your countrymen becomes poor and is unable to support himself among you, help him as you would an alien or temporary resident, so he can continue to live among you. Do not take interest of any kind from him, but fear your God, so your countrymen may continue to live among you. You must not lend him money at interest or sell him food at a profit. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of Egypt to give you the land of Canaan and to be your God. If one of your countrymen becomes poor among you and sells himself to you, do not make him work as a slave. He is to be treated as a hired worker or a temporary resident among you. He is to work for you until the year of Jubilee. Then he and his children are to be released, and he will go back to his own clan and to the property of his forefathers. Because the Israelites are my servants, whom I brought out of Egypt, they must not be sold as slaves. Do not rule over them ruthlessly, but fear your God. Your male and female slaves are to come from the nations around you. From them you may buy slaves. You may also buy some of the temporary residents living among you and members of their clans born in your country, and they will become your property. You can will them to your children as inherited property, and can make them slaves for life, but you must not rule over your fellow Israelites ruthlessly. So God does permit slavery, but he does put prohibitions on it. If an alien or a temporary resident among you becomes rich, and one of your countrymen becomes poor, and sells himself to the alien living among you, or to a member of the alien's clan, he retains the right of redemption after he has sold himself. One of his relatives may redeem him. There's that family redeemer concept again. We'll see that most prominently portrayed in the book of Ruth, where Boaz plays the role of family redeemer. An uncle or a cousin or any blood relative in his clan may redeem him. Or if he prospers, he may redeem himself. He and his buyer are to count the time from the year he sold himself up to the year of Jubilee. The price of his release is to be based on the rate paid to a hired man for that number of years. If many years remain, he must pay for his redemption a larger share of the price paid for him. If only a few years remain until the year of Jubilee, he is to compute that and pay for his redemption accordingly. He is to be treated as a man hired from year to year. You must see to it that his owner does not rule over him ruthlessly. So he doesn't want the Israelites to treat themselves badly, or to rule their countrymen, or rule over them ruthlessly. He really doesn't want anyone to do that, but he's establishing these principles now. He is permitting slavery to a certain degree, but he is putting prohibitions on it. Even if he is not redeemed in any of these ways, he and his children are to be released in the year of Jubilee. For the Israelites belong to me as servants. They are my servants, whom I brought up out of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. So those are the ritual laws in the book of Leviticus, beginning and end, the sacrifices and the feasts. And next time we will start looking at the sections that involve priestly duties, priestly functions, priestly consecration, priestly sacrifices, and the various other duties the priests performed as the holy people among the holy people, so to speak.